Terry, we're here in Calgary, Canada, in a homeless shelter. You said you've been homeless since you were 8 years old.
Basically, yes.
Tell me about it.
Well, the old man and I never did get along. And when I was 8, he blew up and said, "Don't let the door hit you on the way out." I said, "Don't worry, it won't." I walked out the door, reached back, grabbed the door, and slammed it. Took one hinge right off. 2 days later, Child Services Welfare found me sleeping in a dryer.
Sleeping in a dryer?
Yeah.
My gosh.
So they took me in and went into a group home there till I was 16. And then I got transferred to a boys' home. There were only 6 of us in there to start with. There was Barry Prokopchuk, Larry Manzel, Joe Friesen, Billy Elliott, Paul Morton, and myself. We were the original 6 in there. And every Sunday, if something went down in town and the cops couldn't find out who did it, they'd be waiting at our front door when we got home from church. Into the van.
Wow.
So we got used to the routine. We come in one Sunday morning after church. They're sitting there waiting in the van. We're taking you to a lineup. So, we're all chuckling about it until the end.
How did you survive out on the streets?
Well, the way most people did. You helped yourself to what you needed. If you couldn't pay for it, well, you ran like hell. But that Sunday when they took us in, it was into a lineup. Found out that it was some older lady with a cane had got her purse snatched. So she was picking us. She picked me out of the lineup. I was the one that did it. I said, well, it couldn't have been me because I've got witnesses to where I was and what I was doing that night at 2 hours before and 2 hours after it happened. I said, just get a hold of my uncle. I was at his place having supper. Yeah. In the holding cell. And at that time, the holding cell was in City Hall.
Right.
In the basement. And it had the old-fashioned heating system where you could be up on the top floor and hear every word coming out of the basement. Well, I got a little upset, you could say. Got to hollering a little. I called that desk sergeant everything under the sun. All of a sudden, the mayor comes down. What is going on down here? We're holding a city council meeting. Sergeant said, well, it's a kid in the back. He's claiming he didn't do what he was picked out of a lineup for doing. So Mayor, he comes into the holding cell area to tell me to shut up or I'm going to end up with a little more time than I was looking at. As soon as he seen who it was, what on earth are you doing in here? So I told him. I said, and I told the idiot to get a hold of you and you can verify where I was. I said, no, I don't want just his apology. I want him walking a beat in the North End. Because there's a group in the North End, South End, East End, West Side, and downtown. And we all kind of got along, but we weren't known to get along. And I happened to be going out with the head of the North End gang's sister. So I got a hold of her when I got out, and I told her what I had done. That I had this cop walking the beat up there, and for Stoney to take care of what he has to take care of.
Yeah.
He lasted up in the North End 2 days,
Huh.
and they pulled him out of there.
So, how many of your years how old are you?
58.
And how many years were you on the streets?
Well, if you're counting the boys' home, the group home, and here, pretty well all my life. When I was working up in the Arctic, I'd come down for anywhere from a day to 10 days, and I'd just get a hotel room rather than renting by the month and only being there 10 days, maximum 10 days out of 4 months.
Right.
So I figured, why waste money on that when I'm not going to be there? Then I went to the racetrack. I worked there for quite a few years, and I stayed in the dorms there. And then I went to hauling horses, and my truck was my home.
Oh, you lived in your truck?
Yep. The last truck I had was this Sweetheart.
Now, you've been here, obviously, from health issues. You're staying here?
Yes. I can't work. And the cancer spread everywhere now, so it was when they diagnosed me after doing what do you call it? They take a piece of it and examine it to see what it is. That was September 1st last year. They came back and told me that when they took the bladder, or took the kidney stones out, I had two of them. One the size of a hard ball, one the size of a softball. About 6 pounds between the two of them. So they couldn't blast them and then do it. They had to open me up and take them right out. They didn't like the looks of the bladder. So they did a biopsy. I said, well, that's no problem. It's only cancer. He looked at me and says, how can you... Does cancer run in your family? I said, no. But things come in threes. First thought, kidneys were shutting down. Secondly, 2 great big kidney stones. What does that leave? Only one thing left. So they kept me in and booked me for surgery on the 6th of September. And no, they took the stones out on the 6th of September. It would have been the 13th of September that they wheeled me back down to take the bladder and the prostate. And they found out that it was squamous cell carcinoma, which the recovery rate from that is of 20% maximum. About 3% of the people that get cancer get that one. That's the aggressive one. There's nothing they can do. Chemo doesn't work. Radiation doesn't work. So all they can do is, when they get an isolated tumor, go in and cut it out. I said, is that going to guarantee me another 5 years? They said, no. I said, don't even look that way. I'm not taking anything else. Well, I went in the last time on February 9th. They did another CT x-ray, and they found that it had spread rapidly. The tumors from the first CT x-ray were overlarge now, and it had got into more lymph nodes, and it's in the bones now. So that curtails a lot of things I used to do.
I'm so sorry.
Don't be, I'm not. I've
Yeah.
lived a great life.
Awesome.
I've been to all 4 coasts of North America. I've been every state that there is, all across Canada. So
We're running out of time allowed for the video. Briefly, tell me, if you had 3 wishes, what would they be?
that nobody else ever got this. And there's no more homelessness. Third one, I don't know. Those would be the top 2.
Well, thank you very much for talking to me.
You're welcome. You're welcome.